That's right, we're back. Hello. It's time to continue our final night of coverage from E3 2018. You've tuned in for a banger. I'm joined by another group of guests, starting directly closest to me, where he belongs. Giancarlo Varanini's here. How you doing?
Hi.
It's great to see you.
It's great to see you too. It's been a very long time.
Yes, yeah. I feel like you stopped by like last year or the year before for like a minute, and it was like, hey! And then you ran off into the night to do French business, and you know.
Yeah, well, actually, I think the last discussion we had was about how Roman Reigns should be the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Official discussion.
Yeah, official discussion. Yeah. Anything else off the record?
Yeah, we should pick back up on that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot going on there. I think there's still probably
potential,
a lot of ways.
yeah.
There's a lot of potential in this storyline.
Of course.
We have some WWE representative coming through later if you want to pitch it directly to someone who I'm sure can make it happen.
Absolutely.
All right, great. Drew Scanlon is here.
Yes.
How you doing?
Great. I
Great.
think that's the segment I was supposed to be on, the one with the wrestler.
Cool.
Right.
That's how it generally goes.
Yeah, that's how we like it.
Yeah,
It's
because it's E3.
That's just how it goes. Mary Kish, you're here.
Hi.
Hi. They let you out of the Twitch the
Cage.
yeah. I wasn't gonna say it, but yeah. How you doing?
I'm doing good. We wrapped, so I'm free.
Oh, fantastic. Awesome.
They opened it up after,
like
get out of the bubble.
a week in the bubble. I was like, go.
Yeah, we've been in there since Thursday, so it's been a full week of bubble.
Yeah.
So I think we're all feeling it.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
We're gonna get the energy up.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like way better in some ways and slightly worse in others. So overall better than last year. Like, yeah, but yes, it's a bit of a mix. Vinny Caravella
I feel great.
always feels great.
I feel great.
Yeah.
What a couch.
It's
Amazing. What a crew.
Good couch.
yeah, amazing couch, amazing crew. Okay, if you had to rate, if you had to stack rank couch and crew, what's better?
Crew's fantastic. The couch has supported a lot of great people, but this crew
A lot of good butts.
really supports this whole show.
Yeah. In some
know what
ways,
I'm
the
saying?
crew supports the couch.
Yeah,
Without the
right.
crew, there's no couch.
it's true.
Without the couch, there's no show.
You know who gets picked up and packed up at the end of the year?
Who?
Jason.
Yeah.
And the couch.
Yeah. No, we lay him on the couch and then just roll it up in bubble tape and then go, ship it.
That's right. I feel great. It's a great show.
Yeah.
E3 is a fantastic place to be.
I don't get the impression that you're being truthful with me, but we can. That smile didn't
love
seem
it.
genuine.
What?
Yeah.
Can I try it again?
We're going to
Yeah,
have
go
to
for it.
unpack that.
3, 2, and
E3 is a fantastic place to be. I love E3. The people, the games, the atmosphere. It's really unbelievable.
would you agree with me that there's never been a better time to be playing video games?
I would say that, but I would take it a step further
Uh-huh.
and say there's never been a better time to play video games.
Insightful.
True.
Yeah.
Deeper than I
Jeff
thought it'd go.
Bakalar is also here.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's great.
How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing better now that I'm going home tomorrow.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you doing at E3? What's
Oh, nice of you to ask.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm playing a lot of games. I'm being a part of the conversation. I'm hanging out with you guys.
So it's like a vacation thing? Because I don't think there are a lot of
You
like
say-
digital cameras here at the show.
No, there are a lot actually.
I mean, for review purposes.
Well, that depends on who you ask.
I guess so. If I'm not asking the right people about, where's the camera E3?
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of tech support for the booths out there. I'm trying to fix everyone's HDMI cables and stuff.
Smart.
That's where I find myself useful.
A lot of people, HDR is a big thing, and a lot of people bringing old cables to a new HDR fight.
A lot of people don't understand 4K and HDR, so I'm here to, explain that to people.
Fantastic. Could you go ahead?
Well, this is only a 30-minute show.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Well,
We'll talk later.
Yeah, we'll unpack it.
So, Giancarlo, what's the show been like for you? What is it? Because you're not necessarily like working on a game like specifically, but really it's just kind of a whole lineup kind of falls under your purview in some sense. So that's my long-winded way of saying, what do you do?
Yes.
Doesn't feel good, does it, when people ask that?
Because I know, but I would explain it in a way that sounds real crazy. So
like the short version is like the Ubisoft news team. That's my team. And that's Chris Waters, Andy Bauman, and some other folks, Yusef Magid and Michael Raparez. And we kind of try to do what Danny and a lot of other people are doing, Drew especially, and just show that there's a human side to the work that we do and what our development teams do, and that the people that work on these games, they're super passionate and, they really believe in the stuff that they're working on. So we go to the studios, we do videos, we do written pieces, those sorts of things to really sort of highlight that stuff and make it so it's sort of less of, Ubisoft as this monolithic thing that you just don't really know. And that you start identifying more with the people and the people working on the games and what they're trying to do.
Yeah, it seems like that's, I think Ubisoft has really come a long way in that area. It's really, it was always like the press conference, years ago, it was like, it had a lot of character, but like, that not always in a way that was positive. It was like, man, they're just fucking weird. Now it's like, it's not that, they're fucking, now it's like, they're fucking weird. This is great.
Well, I think, especially around the time that I joined, I think as a company, we discovered that, some of the best people we can put on stage are our developers.
Right.
They have emotions, they're real people, and, when they get out on stage, they're so excited to be out there. Especially if they've been working on something for like a really long time and they haven't been able to tell anybody in the outside world about what they've been working on. Yeah. And it's just a massive relief for them to be able to get out there and talk. And just seeing that emotion, and I think you saw it especially last year and this year of just
Mario
people.
Rabbids.
Yeah, Davide Soliani, absolutely, he just emotional, his childhood hero up on stage, basically celebrating his game that he's been working on, and like.
That's it's a crazy moment. Like, and you saw that there. You're like, man, that's got to be intense. Yeah, that's awesome.
It is, and it's been great to get to know a lot of these people and to understand that a lot of them, they've been playing games their whole lives, and and they're fans of this stuff much in the same way we all are, and
Would you say that's the biggest change that you've noticed since you made the jump from like the press side onto this side? Is that realization was like, oh, all these people really do play games and really do, like, it's tempting to look at them as this monolithic thing and go like, oh, they're just looking at spreadsheets and that sort of thing. What is that?
Yeah,
is that the change?
It's been interesting. I think, going over, I thought like, oh yeah, no, I know how games are made. Like, I've been doing this for a while. I know. I know. I had no clue. There's some things obviously that I think, we're aware of and things that happen.
I certainly hear stories about game development and how it's a nightmare and all that sort of stuff, but yeah.
But there are other things you're like, huh, okay, that's how that works, and it's interesting to see, and you see people and how their individual talents are being put to use in these teams. It's just, it's wild, and it's just, it never gets old. That's the crazy thing, like, even though my day-to-day job is just focusing on one company's games, the diversity of the lineup that we have and just the amount of stuff that people working on, the different stuff Ubisoft is working on, is just like, it never gets old. And there's just always some new exciting thing where I'm just like, that is so cool. Yeah. I can't tell anybody about it.
Do you get to see a lot of in-development stuff from all the studios?
Yeah, obviously we see it, much later than some other groups do, but for the purposes of like doing content and stuff, we'll get to go to a studio and see stuff that's pretty early.
That's awesome. And play, like, could you get to play?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Do you give it a good review?
Yes, absolutely. 10 across the board. But that's the other thing too, right? So we'll play, and like they will sit there and they'll watch us play, and they'll be like, "Well, what did you think?"
I was gonna say that's something that you hear a lot from people that get on the press side that make that jump, is that even if they're not in a job where that's part of their job, the whole first year minimum is people putting games in front of them and going, just what do you?
Really?
What would you give it? What do you think about it? And trying to like do basically like people trying to get free mock reviews.
Well, no, but the crazy thing is you do come to realize how much they actually do value feedback, and every word that you say about something, like, they take seriously. And I think Ubisoft, well, no, it's a reason why you see games like The Division that are going, Rainbow Six Siege has almost hit its third year. Like, there's a reason why that stuff is happening. It's because we do listen to feedback. We take it very seriously, and because we're doing that, I think that's why we've been able to make these games have longer lives, right? Because we're making the experience better for them. Mm-hmm. And that's another wild thing that's been happening too, is just seeing that happen, that transition.
Right, that's been a wild one.
Yeah.
Drew, you've been on something of a wild one for a while now.
Yeah.
Getting out there, seeing the world.
Yeah, man. I feel like I just had my E3, because it was the last trip that we just got back from, which was the former Yugoslavia, so Croatia, Bosnia, and Serbia specifically. There are other countries that were part of Yugoslavia, but those are the ones we went to. It was probably the most intense shoot I've ever done. And I have so much more, like, I don't want to make this sound like I didn't have respect for the editorial side before, but I did so many interviews on this one. It was like the crucible that I learned what interviewing was really all about. And like looking back on how many E3 interviews we would just hop from appointment to appointment to appointment, the things that would have to go on in your guys' minds, now I understand. And it was just, it's been fun to be at E3 back in that environment, to think back to when we were doing that and just how mentally exhausting that is.
It's one thing to be like, hey, actually I have some questions about this, but then to be like, I'm gonna have some questions about this and not try to have any downtime as I think of the next one or whatever. Yeah.
Or to go into something that you know only on the surface level about, like you haven't necessarily researched everyone that you're going to talk to.
Right.
You kind of have to go and improvise questions and really listen to them and ask and think critically, like, what do I actually want to ask you about? It's an art.
The best piece of advice I got for that was from Lauren Gonzalez, who used to be at GameSpot back in the day, and she said she used to host the E3 stage and do a bunch of stuff like that. And the thing she told me was the thing to work on is to ask a question, hear the answer, and while you are actually paying attention to the answer, you need to also be getting the next question like lined up and figuring out the right way to do all of that at once without looking like you are clearly not listening to the answer, and go from there. And so that ended up being a huge piece of help. It's not to say that like as soon as you hear that you're like, oh well, great, no problem.
Oh, of course, I just have to think of two things at the same time.
Exactly. Yes, but it was this weird like brain split about how to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Mary, so in the Twitch zone, you are all over the place, it seems like. I see you just streaming on your own from home, doing all this other stuff, bringing your work home with you. You're supposed to take breaks. This is how it's supposed to work. What's the show like for you? What's E3 like?
It's not too far of a jump from what I used to do at GameSpot, but what's cool is that I was able to have more creative control this year. We're actually scheduled games for the first time, which is really exciting and something I expect is like a coveted role that like a very high up person would do. Like that was like something Randall Ramsey used to do, and it's not something anybody can do. But luckily, I just it landed in my and James Faulkner's laps this year, so we got to take that on. It was really exciting to be the people who like talk to Nintendo and schedule them for times and find out how little they're going to tell us.
Yeah. When they tell you things like, well, we have one game we can bring and then another game we can bring, and then suddenly you're like, okay, well, are they good? Like, you have to make that judgment call of like, are these games going to be good? Do we put them up front and give them a big marquee spot?
Yeah.
Do you ever do any live show booking?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I figured you did.
Yeah. And it's always unannounced game number 1, 2, and 3. It's
Correct.
like, okay.
You'd think that they would maybe like, I thought I was going to be able to ask questions and that they would say, no, we're not going to tell you who's on it.
Right.
But it's not that. They take the conversation and they say, we'd like 4 p.m. on Thursday, 5 p.m. on Wednesday, and I schedule them in, and then I don't talk, and then we say goodbye. And that's it. They know exactly what they want.
Well, that's way easier then.
It should, it is actually easier. There's no, it's just like formal greetings, niceties,
Yeah.
and then they tell me what to do.
Yeah, I feel like that's always a big part of it is like you have some companies that are on extremely tight schedules and they'll say, here are the 3 times we have that we can appear on this stage.
Yeah.
Pick one, I guess. We think this one will be the best. And then on top of that, a lot of the times they won't tell you what the game is.
No.
I feel like in a lot of cases, and this is still the case, like booking appointments just to see stuff, is there are still to this day cases of like, okay, we know that they've got 2 games and they'll tell us that this one's a driving game.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, so Forza's this one, and then what's this one? And they're like, it's maybe an action game, and then you have to start to parse out in other people's lineups things like, okay, is this a kids game? and not to like denigrate kids games.
What's wrong with kids games?
Nothing's wrong with kids games, but in terms of just like the limited time at the show, what you're going to spend your most time on, bang for your buck style stuff, especially when booking a stage show.
Yeah.
You will have a lot of people booking appointments that will try to rope you into seeing games that your audience might not have an actual interest in. That's the real problem. Is then like you end up in a half-hour appointment for something and you're like I find this interesting in some weird way, but not in a way that like I'm going to turn around and create a bunch of stuff for our audience because this is not like really what they're looking for.
Yeah, it's a dance, right? Because a lot of times they'll be like, we have good stuff. We're going to want 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not, it's really hard to very nicely say, no, seriously, how much B-roll are you bringing? Because I don't want to just have talking heads for 30 minutes where you like, do just straight up PR. I want to try to get something out of it.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, I want you to come on and like us. So it's a tough one. We don't have the same editorial standards. I feel like we're a bit weirder or looser with it.
Right, yeah.
We don't do reviews, so it's just like, come on.
It's like, come on and just say what you're going to say. And well, so do you have like a hosting team there at Twitch that is running the show, or are you kind of working with?
We try to use streamers now, which
Yeah.
is really cool.
That's cool.
They're definitely like, they're young and they're hungry and they're green, but they're so stoked to be there and they stream a lot. So like that's kind of the goal, right? I think like at the end of the day, yeah, like you want someone who has like all that experience and asks like the tough questions. But for us, it's like, no, I'd just rather the streamers be able to like make a living streaming. So if they're having a good time and they get like a bunch of followers and then they can be successful, that's more of a win for me than if they asked really aggressive questions about Rage 2. Like it doesn't matter. Like just let them do the thing.
There are other places for that.
Yeah,
for sure.
I got bigger problems.
Have you had any amazing technical difficulties that nobody will ever know that you can reveal here? Something horrible happened behind the scenes that you said?
Taping a cable together,
Yeah.
being the link in the cable.
Somebody closing a door on your power cable maybe and just snapping it in half?
Every year, because we do the press conferences and we're the lead stream site for it. I hope this doesn't get me in trouble. Every year Sony like has a problem, and every year Sony like needs us to help.
I feel like I can say from the press side of, well, not that we deal with that stuff anymore, but I feel like back in the day, they were always the last ones to say, yes, you can stream our press conference.
Yes, we bypass them now. We actually, we just go to like the kind of the source for that. But yeah, like they always tend to like have like some kind of small technical problem. And when I mean small, I mean their stream goes down.
Yeah.
And we're like trying to put it back up like very quickly. And luckily we have like this amazing team of stream engineers who, you know, move a fucking satellite and it's crazy because they don't talk or do much. You know they're geniuses, but they're very quiet, and then all of a sudden something happens and they all pull out laptops and start typing really fast and no one knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then they like slap hands and like go back to their like really nice hotel. And I don't really know what it's like over there.
And you're just there going,
Was that close?
I know they did something cool last year. They're always like, this year they were doing the same thing where they're just like, I just rerouted it and I like don't understand any of the words that they're saying. And there's, you know, everyone's pumped. But I know they fix shit that I can't fix, so I'm glad they're there.
Yeah, I mean that was like the GameSpot thing for some years there, where they're literally just like, hey, we got a satellite truck.
Yep.
Yes.
Like we're gonna park a satellite truck behind E3 to get these press conferences. And I think that was what they were doing when we got to CBS. And go like, oh, what's this operation look like these days? Because I remember what it used to be of just like, let's drive these tapes to the booth.
Now we got a satellite.
Yeah, and now there's a satellite truck. I'm like, it's ridiculous.
Frank Adams hauling a generator up like to the top of that Santa Monica thing that year, like something went out, or it was the year the truck parked in front of the satellite truck too.
Yep, the big truck parked in front of the satellite dish, blocking the reception of the press conferences, and it was like, we need to move this truck.
Real class act.
Like now.
Yeah, times have changed.
Yeah.
I just remember weird language like, oh, I got some bandwidth on Norsat 3 I could free up. They're like, oh, all right.
Yeah, we're going to hit the bird. We just got to paint the bird to get the signal down. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Jeff Bakalar, when you come to shows like this, I think a lot of publications that aren't necessarily like video games first and foremost all the time come away with like the bigger mainstream story. So do you feel like, does that mean your job is just like, look at all this Fortnite?
No, I have not said that word a lot this show.
Yeah.
But
Getting deeper, getting real.
yeah, getting real for once. I think in terms of like the mainstream thing, so I went to both Microsoft and Sony press conferences, and I think I'm gonna say that I'm not gonna do that anymore. Like, this is the year, and I've said it before to you.
You texted it to me.
I texted it to Vinny while I was standing in that Last of Us church, and I said, never again. And that, for me, is like the mainstream sort of takeaway, where I, and we've been saying this for years, like, why do we do this? Why do we go? We don't have to go. And this year, they like made the decision for me because of the herding around. I was just like, no, I'm not going to do this again.
Yeah.
Does that sound mean or?
No, I mean, look, like we haven't been to the press conference in 4 years or
Yeah.
something like that. And it is, I feel like we get more out of it not going. Like, I love going because I like being in the audience, and there's something about that vibe and that
that's
energy.
fun.
And you get to see things like when things go a little bit sideways, you see them in a much different way when you're in the room.
Right.
Than if you're just on stream and they cut away from it and you're like, well, something's going on.
And then you're making your way down a really tight corridor, and then some guy rolls his camera bag over your foot, and you're like,
Sorry.
Yeah.
well, this was a little too real. It wasn't you, Drew. This is a little too real. I don't need to do this again.
Yeah.
There was the Ubi in their theater that they've been in for the last 45 years.
Yeah, the Orpheum. Long time.
They would put the people for doing direct feed in this weird cellar that might as well have people sitting on milk crates smoking cigarettes down
Pick
there.
some scabs.
That was just always amazing. It was just like one. In my head, it's a bunch of guys sitting there just smoking cigarettes on milk crates with the CRT playing the thing. I know it's not a CRT and never was, but just like tuning in the thing. This is true. There was just like a power strip just like dangling off a wall with everybody trying to get into it with like 17 expanders off of it because there's one power drop down there.
Yeah.
That's true with duct tape and just a sign that says like no more.
Don't
like don't turn off.
Yeah.
It was always pretty amazing.
I think things are better now. At least
Oh, really?
I hope that, yes.
Well, I
grid's
have to imagine like because that was at a time where people had to get direct feed
Yeah.
and then bring it back to their whatever, upload it, and that's how it made it to the site, and now it's just streamed out.
He plugged in that power strip himself, and he ensured that it's all up to code.
It's one of those nice Belkin ones where you can flip and swivel the things around.
Okay.
It's very nice.
Nothing but the best.
Nothing but the best, right?
Yeah.
I like that good stuff.
But I actually did like that. Like, that to me I preferred versus like just sitting on a riser.
Back when it was real, baby.
Yeah.
You wanted to like smell the electricity like coming off the.
Yeah, there was a sense of danger.
Yeah.
You never know when something could light on fire.
gasoline?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, it's like nice to think sometimes, like, hey, behind the scenes of this thing are a bunch of people working hard, just like, and this thing is just ramshackle enough in a few of those key ways where it's just like, okay, we're back here holding this thing together.
Yeah, and you'd see people come through getting like taped up with their mics and being like, am I on next? Oh, okay, I'm on. And just kind of like walking back and forth, checking a phone, like looking at the monitor, ready to go on. And like that to me as a production person is fun to see, right? And then, you see them out there just kind of like going like,
Yeah.
okay. And then they walk away, and a half second later, there they are on the TV, being like, hey, everybody, how's it going?
Right.
And then they come back in, and everybody's like, awesome job.
Vinny loves the magic.
That's totally
That's
like
the fun
I
part.
rarely got to see that, but there were a couple times. There was one year I was backstage at Sony during their press conference, and it was like backstage. It wasn't like down in the cellar or these other spots. It was like the right behind the stage.
Yeah.
They just had
Like right in
here's
the
where
wings?
stream drops are
Yeah.
and all this other stuff, and you could see both wings. You could see where people were coming in, and I wasn't actually doing any real work there. I just decided to go to the press conference early and sneak in with Ryan McDonald and just like, I'm gonna stand back here with you. Because I don't know how any of this works, but I just want to see this. This is weird. And no one threw me out. So I was able to sit back there. It's
fun, right?
Read the just sit there and look at the teleprompter. And you can do that, always turn around at a press conference and know announcements like 15 seconds early, which now that everyone's on phones and like you can spoil shit, you can get out there. You can make things happen.
Yeah, and I think like you were saying before, it is real people going out there that are not actors, right? That are, you see them, but when you see them backstage, you see them kind of getting prepped and they're just like nervous, and sometimes you see that manifest on stage when you can see people like kind of, getting nervous.
Yeah.
But to see them backstage, like with their friends and stuff, getting ready to go out, and it can be very lonely. You have like a handler back there, you don't know where to go. But then you see them come out on stage and sometimes just kill it, and it's really amazing. And they come back out behind the wings, and you're just like, holy shit. So, oh my God, there are so many people out there. Nobody said there's, I couldn't, or, you see this, I couldn't see anything, it's just lights, like.
Yeah. Or like, it wasn't like this during rehearsal.
Yeah, totally. Or like, the teleprompter died like halfway through, I didn't know what the fuck to say. It's just, that's fun to me.
Batteries, my controller died. The whole demo went sideways.
Yeah, that stuff's fun.
Yeah.
Wasn't one of the most, one of the moments I remember was like when that happened for Ubisoft. I think they like didn't turn a mic off, and a girl said like, "We nailed it."
Oh yeah.
And it was so endearing and so.
It was awesome.
It was peering
like,
behind the curtain for just a quick moment.
Yeah, like it was just a couple people going like, "Yeah, awesome." Yeah.
I love that happened.
But that's like the other thing too. So like I got to watch the rehearsals this year,
Right.
and like people, you see them come out, and they're obviously just like, they're nervous about the rehearsal too, right? Because they're just like, is this good? Is what I'm saying good? Are people gonna pay attention to this? And like when you're done, I think you out there on stage, you just feel that rush of like, I did a good job.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I did not fall over.
Yeah.
I maybe stumbled on one or two words,
Yeah.
but we got through the script.
Maintain consciousness.
I
like-
fell through this podium.
That one was good.
Yeah.
It was a good bit.
Yeah, it was a really good bit. I think that's the fun thing about the Ubisoft conference is you can count on like someone somewhere along the way is just like, we're putting on a show, and they have fun with it in a way that I don't think anyone else is doing anymore. And
For sure.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
And like a good way, I think Bethesda got into it a little bit with some of the Andrew WK stuff and a little bit of that, but I think like someone is smart enough, someone has been doing this long enough to realize we don't need to walk out here and say the names of songs that are going to be in Just Dance. Let's put on a dance number and we will play some songs and people can listen to that and go, I bet those are in the game, huh? And yes, right,
yeah.
yes, of course they are.
Well, I mean, I think it's like video games are meant to be entertaining. And I think as the industry has grown up and realized that a press conference doesn't need to be that old thing where you stand at a podium and here is our lineup. You know what I mean? It's like, no, put on a show. This stuff's entertaining. Like, there's a reason why people love this stuff. Like, so let's do it that way instead of just being very,
I think it's a delicate balance. I think, if you go too far in that direction and become very info light, and then it just becomes more like, well, we push play on this tape. Thanks for coming.
Sure.
And I think that's an even worse way to go. I would almost rather have the multi-hour press conference because someone is showing up from Japan with footage and they haven't gotten there yet. So let's really drill down on these sales bar charts and really just like, yeah, the PSP is fucking killing it, man. Look at this bar. It's so much higher than the other one.
But yeah, there used to be pie charts and graphs
Yeah.
during press conferences, like 20 minutes of like sales figures. And,
I mean, they used to be literally called press conferences,
Yeah.
and no one uses the term anymore.
No,
I don't
they're
think.
showcases.
It's always showcase and media briefing. I think is as
Blitz.
close you get. Yeah.
Media blitz.
And for a while I was like, whatever, they're press conferences. I think it was like over the last like 2 years, I was like, actually, they're super not press conferences anymore. No one is standing up and going like, I'm from how's the multiplayer? Like, no one's asking questions of these things.
I mean, for us, like the Star Fox announcement for Starlink, obviously.
Gotta be.
So my wrestling brain kicked in for that because I was like, man, we kept this secret. Okay, there's gonna be a pop for this.
Yeah.
And so like I was like, okay, when the trailer started, I'm like, there's like 3 stages of this trailer where people are gonna start recognizing stuff and people are gonna recognize the Star Fox gibberish.
Yep.
Those people, like, you'll start getting that, and then the
Right.
scarf people, are, and then once they show it, I'm just, and being in the back of the auditorium and hearing it, it's just like, oh my God, that's so cool.
You were in gorilla position.
Yeah, just like, it's just. No, but like that kind of feeling's great, it's just like, this is so cool, like everyone's really into this, it's really fun when you can do something like that.
And keep it a secret, unlike some of the things in the press conference.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, they acknowledge the whole keychain thing.
Yeah, no, and that was a fun day. For us, it was just like, we saw that and we're like, hey, you know what, let's have some fun with this.
Sure,
Like,
you have to now.
Yeah.
The alternative of just like pretend it doesn't, and well, whatever. I think everyone approaches it differently, but personally, I think the minute that happens, you just go with something. some minor acknowledgement, and at least say like, we'll have more to say soon. People that just like go like bury head in sand and just go like, what are you talking about? We don't comment on leaks.
We don't comment on keychain.
Yeah, it's just like, don't go, like that's, it doesn't play anymore.
Yeah, and I think too.
The audience is too smart.
Well, and it's also like, do you want people to be excited about a keychain? Do you want that to be the thing that they have going into this, or should we like get out and say something? And and I think we were very much like, let's just, let's do this.
It seems like Bethesda was in the same boat with some of their stuff and all that, but it seems like not everything that leaked out ahead of the show was in the press conference. Weird.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe we can talk later.
Sure.
Figure something out.
Yep.
So, do you still think there's time to make Roman Reigns into The Undertaker? Really good.
Man, wrestling's really bad right now.
I've come around in a way where I can at least watch it and go like, well, they look like they're having fun.
Do they though?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they still get paid, I guess.
Right. Yeah. I can
fun.
still watch it and go like, they're trying something.
Yeah.
It's not what I would try, but I'm not 12, so I'm not in the demographic anymore. Like I approach it the same way that I think I was never like a huge Star Wars fan, but I was the person going like, Star Wars is for kids, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing I came to with wrestling is just like, I'm not in the WWE target demographic. And so it's cool that there is some stuff in this show that I can still be into and feel happy for the performers that are like getting recognized and doing really well and stuff. And I get happy for good matches in a way that I never did before.
That's the thing. Like, I feel like the wrestling itself
Yep.
is some of the best wrestling we've ever had.
Exactly.
But nobody cares.
Yeah. No. It's,
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and then they put Shinsuke and AJ in the ring, and they have like the worst match ever. And
Yeah.
it's just like, what are you doing?
But it's fun, and eventually they'll get to the point where they probably have that match. They got to stretch it out. They got a lot of hours of TV to fill.
Yeah.
That's just how it works.
The
Sometimes.
8th hour.
Yeah.
They're gonna bring back Thursday Night Thunder.
And when it's all on Fox,
Yep.
and Shotgun Saturday Night will come
Yep.
back.
Great.
And we'll get back to what really
What do you
matters.
think, Vinny?
Yeah. What do you think, Vinny?
Wrestling doing it for you anymore?
Yeah, I think it's really in a technical place right
Sure,
now.
yeah.
It's, proficient technical efficiency ish thing that I find very appealing. But I think the messaging and the brand awareness is just off.
Yeah.
Right.
I couldn't agree
Yes.
more.
It's good.
Drew, where are you heading next? Maybe you're not ready to announce that, but do you know where you're headed next?
I have a good idea. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm trying to get. We shot a lot of stuff in the Balkans. 2 terabytes of footage.
Holy crap!
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah. 1080p footage. Not
Nice.
even.
Wow.
Not even
Wait, how-
4K.
Yeah.
Is that just all on like SD cards?
Yeah.
How many SD cards is that?
I had to rotate them.
Oh,
I
so
had
you
to
just dump them in.
I would dump them to my laptop and then have to wipe them again.
Oh,
because
boy.
I ran out.
Scary.
What's how high do they go up now?
I was using 128s.
All right.
Yeah.
You gotta
Where
get
where
some
won't
P2
you
cards,
go?
something nice.
Where won't you go?
Ooh,
I
good
can't go to North Korea anymore.
Well, no shit. Like,
Anymore.
I mean, I know you've been there, but
I think active war zone is where I draw the line.
Probably fair.
Yeah.
I think that's beyond fair. Yeah.
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 Well, we all made it through the active war zone that is E3.
Word.
Wow.
Yeah, it ain't so bad. It's easy to get, like, especially at the end of the show, it's really easy to be like, all right, we got, just like get real grizzled. Be like, we made it through another one, guys. But whatever.
How many is this for you?
How many have there been?
25.
23, I
No,
think is what it is.
23,
22,
yeah.
23.
Yeah.
Yes,
Jeez.
that's all of them. Wow. Yeah. I don't know. They keep having them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep showing up.
Right.
Yeah.
It's an endurance. It's like a high stakes game of chicken
Mm.
to see who swerves first.
You or E3?
Yeah, me or Ethan. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, like I got no signs of giving up. Talked to Andy McNamara last night and asked him, how long he was in it. He
Yeah.
said, I'm looking at you, asking the same thing. I'm like, all right, cool.
It's funny.
There's another one. There's just multiple games of chicken happening all over the place.
I think E3's wobbling.
Yeah, we're all just gonna join hands and go down
Shaking
together.
hands, yeah.
Oh man.
Speaking of which, we're gonna go down right now and switch out. Thanks everyone for coming out. It's been awesome to see you. Vinny Caravella
Thank you.
coming out from New York.
yeah.
Safe travels back.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. I'm gonna head back there and with this guy.
Yeah, I have to go back there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Will they let you bring all the free fridges and stuff you got here on the plane?
You'd be
or what?
surprised what you could fit in carry-on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you gonna review the Amazon the Alexa Skyrim?
wasn't real, Vinny.
It is available.
Wow.
It's-
Wow.
yeah.
Everybody check out CNET.com for all
Yeah.
the latest news
Yeah, they know everything.
about tech.
They got it
apparently.
all.
Way up to date.
Download.com, everything's
We just weren't briefed on that, so
Uh-huh.
you know, we got an Amazon guy back in New York who's on top of it.
an
Yeah.
Amazon guy.
Yeah, we have a guy who writes just about Amazon.
That's not
His
true.
Yeah, Ben. Yeah.
True.
We have-
What is he right? It's
That's
like, hey
Am-
man, they got all these cables in stock.
First off, no, he doesn't fucking.
I just bought SATA cables from Amazon today. You tell Ben it was great.
I'm just saying he doesn't.
I bought it for my phone.
He doesn't like disclose like here's what they have of inventory. Amazon's one of the biggest companies in the world. Every time they shuffle, he's got to be like, whoa, they shuffled. You know, they did this, they did that. They make a lot of waves, that company. So
Yeah,
we need
no,
someone to
they're
just
out there.
focus on.
HQ2. Where's it gonna be? What's the lowdown?
I think I don't know.
All right. Well, we'll
Like Atlanta maybe, right? I think that's. I think Atlanta's like
I thought that was the case.
the front runner.
Yeah. These SATA cables, they're very highly rated. Let me tell you.
Cool. Amazon Basics.
It's a 3-pack.
For life.
Pretty excited about it.
3-pack.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. No, I'm not messing around. I might get 3 hard drives
Are they,
someday.
Are they braided?
No, but the right angle.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right.
Ferrat cores?
No, definitely. Definitely. A little bit of interference won't hurt anybody. We'll be back with another batch of guests. Stay tuned.